Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Niagara Falls and happy Family Day. In Canada, the Monday that just passed is known as Family Day. And since we're all part of Vichara Gurukula, your family that is guiding each other towards Vichara, towards knowing what's important, towards knowing God. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Suras, also known as the Devatas, were cursed for being arrogant. And the effect of that curse is that humans would not make offerings to the Devatas through Agni, through Tarpana, fire, water. And the Devatas became weak. And the Asuras, the Rakshasas, they knew this. And that was the time when they took on the Suras and defeated them. These Suras then went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma took these Suras to Bhagavan Vishnu, and Bhagavan Vishnu said, the way you will defeat the Asuras is through Amrita, by churning the Kshira Sagra, the milky ocean. And we all know what happens from there. Relating this to us, though, one who lives by their sense organs. Deva means that which illuminates. Our sense organs illuminate for us. When someone lives just by their sense organs, they have a tendency to become arrogant, right? Small-minded, live smallly. Arrogance is natural. And when they go to Bhagavan Vishnu, when we go to God for help, what does the divine teach us? Depend on yourself. Instead of depending on humans making offerings to you, depend on yourself. And you can only depend on yourself if you go deep into yourself. The churning of the Milky Ocean is shifting from being dependent on the world to being dependent on the self. And the deeper and deeper and deeper one goes into who they are, the more independent joy they experience. The churning of the Milky Ocean is beautiful poetically, but much more beautiful when understood practically. Our Bhagavad Gita course is encouraging us to be deeper. How? In January of 2017 to May 2017, we had 20 classes over a 21-week period. From June 2017 to August 2017, we had 0 classes over 13 weeks. That was our summer holiday. Summer holiday from self-development. From September 2017 to December 2017, we had 14 classes over 17 weeks. And now, from January 2018 to May 2018, we will have 20 classes over 21 weeks. This course has been designed for one to go through 30 lessons over 60 weeks. 30 lessons in 60 weeks. By the time we complete our course, we would have had 54 classes instead of 30. That's 80% more guidance than one would ordinarily have. And instead of 60 weeks, we're taking this up over 72 weeks. That's 20% more opportunity than one would ordinarily have. And before we begin our next course, which will be on September 11th, most likely, that's another 13 weeks, which really puts us at 85 weeks before the completion of our Bhagavad Gita course, before the beginning of our next course. If the last period of study that we've been to together, this is our 40th class, if this can't encourage us to be deeper, what will? How can we be more independently joyous than what we're doing? Coming back to the completion of chapter 12, Bhagavan Krishna shares, bhakti is depending on the divine. Bhakti is living for the divine. Now, if one can't engage in this depending on God, Bhagavan says, then practice depending on God. If I can't do this fully, let me practice. If I can't practice depending on God, Bhagavan says, dedicate your actions, your karmas, to the divine. If one can't do that, Bhagavan says, one should accept the results of actions, the fruits that come with all that we do. So the highest is to depend, lower than that is to practice, lower than that is dedicate, lower than that is accept. This we studied in shlokas 9 through 12, which is support to the message of chapter 12 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan then shifts focus and says, virtue development is synonymous with love development. We just celebrated Valentine's Day, correct? But we're trying to change that into bhakti anudinam, which is to be devoted every day. Virtue development and love development are the same. And love development and self-development are the same. Bhagavan elaborated on the virtues, the love, the self that we should be encouraging in shlokas 13 through 19. This is support to the strength. This is to support us practicing, dedicating, accepting. And if done completely, one will begin to realize that one is Sat Chit Ananda. One is whom one is devoted to. One is Bhagavan. The closer we move to the divine, the more there is dukkha nivritti, there is sukha prapti. One goes from being dependent on sorrow to independently joyous. Shloka 20 was the summary of all of chapter 12, where Bhagavan Krishna says, one who's followed what I've taught is extremely dear to me. This becomes the seed for chapter 13. Extremely dear is synonymous with is me. We shift to 13.1 to 13.3. Our study in the first 6 chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita was on the Jiva. We studied the Jiva. We studied Twam. We studied ourselves at the surface level. Chapters 7 through 12, our study took us to Jagadishvara, took us to Tat, took us to God. Right now, I believe I and God are different. I limit God, God limits me. This is not infinity. This is not Brahman, the Brahman that we keep referencing. Chapters 13 through 18, Bhagavan guides us to be deeper, guides us to go past the limits of the Jiva and Jagadishvara, Twam and Tat. There's a most beautiful Saki by Sri Kabir that I'll read to all of you that emphasizes this. Hum tum pyare ek hai, kahana sunana ko do, man se man ko tauliye, do man ka bahu na hoya. Sri Kabir says, Hum tum pyare ek hai. Oh friend, oh one I love, hum tum ek hai, we are one. Kahana sunana, in saying and hearing, ko do, then we are two. For our relative existence, there is hum and there is tum. I think there's an Indian movie called Hum Tum, correct? Manase manako tauliye, that if you bring my mind and your mind together, we put them side by side. Tauliye means to weigh them. Do man kabahuna hoy. There will never be two minds. There will only be one. Sri Kabir is saying this at a relative level. Our minds are the same. What are you all thinking about right now? What is he talking about? Correct? But if you go deeper, that which is enlivening the mind is the same. Jiva and Jagadishvara are one. And I'll give you one more worldly example of this. The Jiva is the wave, Jagadishvara is the ocean, and then what is Brahman? Water. The wave is limited, the ocean is also limited, but water is not. Chapter 13 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is casually known to be the most difficult chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Casually known as that. Like when someone is teaching chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, they'll say this is the most difficult, to intimidate others, to make themselves feel good. Look, I am teaching chapter 13. I hope after 40 weeks of us being together, when I say I hope, deep in my heart I'm praying hard, that we're being serious enough that all the chapters are not difficult but are practical. Bhagavan begins this chapter by explaining the kshetra. Explaining what? Kshetra. Kshetra means field in a simple English translation. This field is that which is many. So that which is many is the field. The field is that which is different than you. All that is different than you is the field. The laptop in front of you, the book you're reading, the skin that you're touching, that's all different. The kshetra is inert. The kshetra is not conscious. And the example that Swami Tejomayananda uses, if you have a watch on, you know the time, but the time doesn't know you, correct? You are sentient, the watch is inert. Kshetra, everyone's with me? The kshetra that we have to focus on is this body. The body is specifically known as a kshetra because kshata tranat means that which has a protective system. This body has an immune system, correct? This body instinctively has a fight or flight response. A field is that which has these inbuilt protective systems, and the body does too, so the body is a field. We know the body to be kshayat. Kshayat means perishing, that which is aging. So a field is that which is changing. A field is perishing. This body is too, so this body is a field. And finally, kshetravat, just like you take a soccer field. I believe the World Cup is this year. On a soccer field, there's goals scored for and against. This body is engaged in dharma and adharma. Matters come in, prana, matters go out, apana. So this body is like a field. This is a most practical teaching because if the body is a field, fields aren't independent. There's a reason for that field, correct? That field is to be used. That means you're not the body. You're to use the body, not to be used by the body. And so Bhagavan then introduces the kshetrajnaha. Kshetrajna is the one who knows the field, the one who knows that which is known, the many, the different, the inert. This kshetrajna is God. This kshetrajna is the self. Kshetrajna is one. And here's a simple analogy to understand this. The kshetrajna is capital I. The I that is a capital, that is consciousness. This capital I is existence, this capital I is consciousness, and why I said is consciousness, we'll use the word chit. All right? Capital I is chit. Chitta is of the nature of existence and awareness. We're together right now? Hum tum. Our minds are the same, correct? Everything I'm thinking, you're understanding, yes? The small I is known as chit abhasa or chidabhasa. This is a reflection of chit. This borrows existence awareness. Now note how we began this class about dependence and independence. Chit, independent or dependent? Independent. The reflection of chit, obviously it's a reflection, so it's dependent on chit. This chidabhasa reflects. The sun is the chit. This glass of water I have, which the sun is shining on, and the glass over there and the glass over there, that's chidabhasa, correct? The sun is not conditioned by the dirtiness or cleanness of this glass. The sun is one, the reflections are many. And those reflections that are pure, they don't just reflect, they research. Make note of that word. They research. They're searching back from where is the source of this light. A pure chidabhasa, a pure small I, will make their life's purpose to know who they are, the big I. Who are you? Are you the kshetra? Are you the kshetrajna? You know, which means you are the knower. You know me, you know you. You know all of the bodies. The gross body when it's hungry, the subtle body when it's angry, the causal body when it's feeling fear of the unknown. You know all of the bodies. So you're not the field, you're the field knower. And looking up more, all the gross bodies, subtle bodies, and causal bodies are known by the Kshetrajna. The Kshetrajna we just talked about is God. I know my individual bodies. God knows my bodies and your bodies and all bodies. Which is why I emphasize to people, if you know someone who needs help, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're directionless, they're unwell physically, mentally, pray for them. Because it's through your prayers that Ishvara can bring help to them, because we're all connected. Our prayers are not ineffective if we're far away. Ishvara is connected to all. The individual bodies, the collective bodies, are known as Ashtadha Prakriti, the 8-form Prakriti, also known as Apara Prakriti. We studied that also. That is the lower creation or lower nature. Here, this is called as Kshetra, the field. All these bodies are called the field. They're made up of 24 components. 24. Here are these 24. The first 5 components are the elements. The 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. Plus 5 organs of perception: hearing, feeling, etc. Plus 5 organs of response: speaking, holding, etc. So we're at 15, correct? Plus 5, our physiology, digestion, circulation. We're at 20. And what's the last 4? The andakarana, the software, which is the mind and memory, intellect and ego. You caught 24. Mind, memory, intellect, ego. All of this is the field. Who are you? You are the knower of the field. When Bhagavan Krishna explains this in such detail, the details are what help us to be independent of what this is all subject to: growth and death, and on and on and on. The light, the bulb, the filament, those are all the field. The electricity is the knower of the field. You can break the light, you can break the bulb, you can break the filament. Can you break electricity? Right now you may not be clear about that, so your raw is to try. Try to break electricity safely. Someone was pointing out that your recent raws have always begun with safely. Is that okay that you're encouraging people to do this? We continue now to 13.4 to 13.7. The beginning of this chapter is simply defining Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Kshetra is stuff. Kshetrajna is the one who uses stuff. Now, everyone's experiencing this. You're experiencing that you know the body. You know the mind. You know the intellect. You know the ego. Yes. Do you know you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the intellect, or that you are the body? Yes. We don't have the experience of what Bhagavan is teaching because our jnana is ashuddha. Our jnana is ashuddha. And here, don't think of ashuddha as dirty. Our jnana is mishra. It's mixed. Sometimes I believe that I'm the field. Sometimes I believe I'm the field knower. it's mixed. It's ashuddha. Now, I think it's because of the Bhagavad Gita course. Or I think it's because of Swami Tejomayananda. Maybe we should have a meeting with him and tell him that the way that he's sharing this jnana, ashuddha. If we really want to complain, we should go to the head and tell Bhagavan Krishna. Maybe Prince Arjuna learned more at the Gurukula than Bhagavan Krishna. I have a cup of water here. The water that came out of the tap in Niagara Falls particularly is pure. And if I'm looking at this water and I see some grains of rice on the bottom, then how much do I relish this glass of water? I keep thinking, this is a glass. How did rice get in this glass? Whose rice is in this glass? And what was that rice cooked with? Was it curd rice? Was it sambar rice? Was it rajma and rice? Was it plain rice? The jnana has no problem with it. It's the vessel that has a problem. When I said jnana ashuddha, you should be thinking jnana can never be ashuddha. It is the chitta that is ashuddha. My mind is not balanced enough. My mind is not focused enough. My mind is not reflective enough. All acharyas have different personalities. I feel that the focus of my personality when it comes to studying and sharing Advaita Vedanta is Chitta Shuddhi. I don't think I'm so much of an intellectual person who studies and even shares thoughts from what people call as advanced texts, because I'm quite clear you can study as advanced a text as you want, but if the vessel's not ready, it's just more ashuddha. What should you be doing first, sequentially, is make the vessel clean. Then any jnana that comes is pramana then, correct? Is authoritative. So catch yourself. Are you sharing that the jnana is ashuddha or the chitta is ashuddha? The jnana is not ashuddha. With chitta shuddhi, jnana is jnana. 3 words, tattvamasi. You don't need to study 700 shlokas then. Chitta shuddhi. And this is a most beautiful part of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13 specifically. 20 values are elaborated by Bhagavan Krishna, telling Prince Arjuna that only with these values will you be able to experience what I'm teaching you. You know what I'm teaching you intellectually. This is Prince Arjuna. He is brilliant, but he's not experiencing it, because the chitta, the personality, is not pure enough. Swami Tejomayananda writes, values are studied, and when they're practiced, they're not called values, they're called virtues. Values are studied, virtues are practiced. We are all born virtuous. We learn vices. No one is born mean. No one is born indulgent. If you think about your Balavihara students, the younger ones, you would never describe a Balavihara student as, this kid in grade 2 is so indulgent. No, these vices are learned. And this is most obvious because my parent is Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is virtues. What values do we want in our lives? Whatever we want others to be, those are the values we value, isn't it? The person next to you, the person across from you, whatever you want them to be, your spouse, your kids, those are the values you value. Whatever you want others to be. A value will only be real if you value that. if you don't have value for a value, it will never be valuable, which means you will never follow that. Many times I talk about discipline, but if you don't value discipline, are you going to be a disciplined person? But if you value honesty, because you value that, that's valuable to you, you will follow that, isn't it? And finally, when we understand and appreciate the consequence of values and vices, whatever we appreciate more, that value will prevail. So going back to discipline and honesty, if I understand the consequences of being indisciplined versus being untruthful, whichever one is going to be more severe, I'm not going to do that one. And the benefit also, this is the benefit of discipline, this is the benefit of being honest. Whichever is more beneficial, I'm going to do that one. Which is why the study of values is important. It helps bring these values to light. This is the shloka I will highlight, one of the shlokas I will highlight from chapter 13. This is shloka number 7, where these values begin, and it is in your sheet. Okay. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham steryam atma vinigraha. Chapter 13, shloka 7. I'm going to give you a sampling of these 20 virtues, starting with amanitvam. Mana means ego. Mana means measurement. Amana is one who's not always thinking about, look at how big I am, look at how known I am, look at how great I am. They're not measuring themselves. Amana. One who has a practice to be mana, one who has a practice to be arrogant, they feel that everyone should obey them. An arrogant person feels everyone should obey them. And if you're not obedient, then that person becomes very negative towards you. Arrogance makes us hard, and humility makes us soft. Here, soft doesn't mean in a weak way, makes us adaptable. A way to help us with amanitvam is to introspect. When we think about the way we think and speak and act, we'll be able to identify if that ego, if that arrogance is coming through or not. Amanitvam. Number 2, adambitvam is to not be hypocritical. Damba is to be hypocritical. Adambitvam, to be integrated. Hypocrisy is where there's two. I think something, I speak something else. Integration is where there's oneness. Adambitvam comes from being honest. This is who I am, and I don't say otherwise. This is what I speak, and I don't speak otherwise. Someone who's practicing adambitvam, they grow from insecurity to security. They're not an insecure person. Bhagavan describes in Kishkinda Kanda that a firefly is symbolic of adambitvam, because they only shine in darkness, isn't it? They have no shine when there's more light around them. It's like some of us, we like to discuss how much we know amongst people who know less. But can you discuss how much you know amongst people who know lots? Adambitvam. Ahimsa, number 3. Ahimsa, if you take this literally, means non-violence, which is fine, we get it. To bring this to life, it would be sensitivity. Sensitivity. A sensitive person knows another person doesn't just have a body. I may not hit my friend, but I always insult him in public. That's a worse form of violence, isn't it? Because I'm not sensitive to his mind, to his intellect. Sensitivity. Sri Kabir was intensely notorious against people who ate meat. He was ruthless in promoting vegetarianism. There's some really awesome sakis that he teaches, saying, if I eat a goat, what will my fate be? You know, I'm acting just like that goat, but the goat's supposed to be a goat. I'm not supposed to be a goat. A sensitive person is sensitive not just about humans, but animals and plants and all. Number 4 is kshantihi. Kshantihi means forgiveness. And where there's kshantihi, there is shantihi, there is peace. Kshantihi is described as space. Space allows all to grow and shrink, correct? Space accommodates all. The people who fight fires and the people who cause fires are both accommodated by space. There is no struggle or resistance. We tend to struggle against some people who we want to change, and we resist those who make us want to change, isn't it? Constant struggle and resistance, especially in families. Think space. Think shantihi. Number 5 is arjavam. And I've talked about this so many times. Arjavam is where the word Arjuna comes from. Arjuna. Arjavam means straight. Using the language of Ramayana, saralata. Saralata means simplicity. Bhagavan Rama says simplicity is a form of bhakti. Arjavam means one who is not political. You know, a political person is always moving. They don't know how to be quiet with working with people. 6, acharya upasanam. Upa means near, asana means sit. Acharya upasanam is having an acharya as a role model. If I have a piano teacher in my life, it's because I want to be a pianist. If I have an acharya in my life, it's because I want to be happier, isn't it? I see such a difference in couples, particularly those who have a role model within the Guru Shishya Parampara. Those husbands and wives work harder together. And couples who don't have such a role model in their lives, they don't work as hard because they don't have that influential presence in their life. Acharya Upasanam is to see what an Acharya sees, to see what the Guru sees. This is why we have our understanding marriage retreats, taught by Acharyas. We started our spiritual parenting retreats 2 years ago. The first retreat was Vilasaniji and myself, and then last time was Vilasaniji and myself and Swami Sharanananda from Chicago. And we were joking amongst ourselves that all of the people teaching in these spiritual parenting retreats aren't parents. So now I can teach at this spiritual parenting retreat with a lot of experience. 8.5 months. 7 is shaucham. Shaucham. Please make notes of this so you can tell your kids, okay? Shaucham is outwardly cleanliness, inwardly purity. But it is that outward cleanliness that is a catalyst to inward purity. I told you about how important purity of mind is. A simple way to practice shaucham is to be simple. Simplify how many clothes you have. Simplify how many acharas you have in your fridge and closet. Simplify how many pairs of shoes you have, your glasses. Simplify. Just wear white. Simplify. President Obama does it. He copied this Xiaochum. He only has a few suits. Me and him were talking yesterday. He was telling me. And finally, Vivikta. Vivikta means to be alone. To be alone. Vivikta means to enjoy one's own company. And a great way to start to do this in a time when we're so afraid of judgment is to be in nature. Because when you're in nature, you feel more natural. Be in nature. When one has any of these 8 virtues, any of these 20 virtues, then one grows up from kshetra to kshetrajna. But without this purity, it doesn't matter what jnana flows into our life, it will also flow out. Narayana.